Hello everyone, you're watching Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali and I'll be taking you through top news across Canada. 14-year-old arrested after allegedly grabbing woman stealing a vehicle in North Toronto police. Weather whiplash, Toronto could see its coldest temperature this winter tonight. Video shows new drive-through car wash for trains as work continues on Finch LRT. Death of second asylum seeker at Mississauga shelter sparks calls for more funding support. NDP Liberals strike deal to cover cost of diabetes medicines, birth control. RCMP confirms alarming cyber event targeting its networks. 7 charged with second-degree murder after 2023 death at Niagara Detention Center. These were the headlines. Now let's jump right into the details. Have you ever wondered how Metrolinx keeps the exterior of its trains clean? Turns out it might not be all that different from your personal vehicle. Metrolinx has released a video to social media providing a glimpse inside a new dedicated train wash bay at the maintenance and storage facility for the still under construction Finch West LRT. In the short video, you can see a train operator pulling ahead after someone on an intercom gives them the all clear. The facility appears to be remarkably similar to any car wash with train tracks in place of the conveyor belt system that you might see at most gas station washes. A spokesperson for Metrolinx tells Awaz News that the facility near Finch Avenue and Jane Street is actually one of the 4 washing bays in operation across the GTA. The other wash bays are located at Metrolinx, Willowbrook, Eglinton and Whitby rail maintenance facilities. The Finch Avenue site is a 10,000 square foot facility with capacity to hold up to 26 light rail vehicles. While construction is continuing on the 11-kilometer Finch West LRT, trains are being tested along the line and is expected to be operational later this year. Once complete, it will provide a rapid transit connection from the existing Finch West subway station to the Humber College campus at Finch Avenue West and Highway 27. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police confirmed to Awaz News on Friday that it was dealing with a cyber event that targeted its networks, forcing it to launch a criminal investigation into the breach. At this time, there is no impact on RCMP operations and no known threat to the safety and security of Canadians, RCMP Media Relations Officer Mary-Eve Britton said in a statement to Awaz News. The National Police Service also said there are no known impacts on the safety and security of Canada's allies around the world. While a breach of this magnitude is alarming, the quick work and mitigation strategies put in place demonstrates the significant steps the RCMP has taken to detect and prevent these types of threats, Britain said. The spokesperson went on to say that the RCMP will work with its national security partners to continue assessing the breadth and scope of the security breach and hold those responsible accountable. A 14-year-old has been charged after a carjacking in Toronto's North End earlier this week. Police say that they were called to the scene at 3 p.m. on February 20th for a robbery in the Bayview Avenue and Shepherd Avenue East area. Police say that a woman was entering her vehicle when 5 suspects approached her. One suspect, the 14-year-old boy, allegedly grabbed her and removed her from the vehicle before getting inside and fleeing the area. Police say that the officers were able to locate the vehicle with the suspect inside as it was equipped with a GPS tracking device. As a result, the suspect was arrested and charged with robbery, possession of property obtained by crime, and break of recognizance. He cannot be identified due to terms of the Youth Criminal Justice Act. Anyone with information is asked to contact police at 416-808-7350 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. Police say they have charged 7 people with second-degree murder as they continue to investigate the June 2023 death of a man who was being held at an Ontario detention center. Police say all of the accused were also inmates at the Niagara Detention Center. Niagara Regional Police say officers responded to an emergency call from the detention center around 6:30 a.m. on June 10th and found the 52-year-old man dead. A police spokesperson declined to answer questions about what the accused are alleged to have done, citing the ongoing investigation and court case. Police announced Wednesday They had charged two people, a 19-year-old and a 39-year-old. They then announced on Friday they had charged five others between the ages of 23 and 44, all from Niagara region. Toronto residents can expect weather whiplash over the next few days as the temperatures quickly return to freezing. Environment Canada is forecasting seasonably mild temperatures yet again on Friday, but then the weather is expected to pivot. It will be 6 Celsius early this afternoon, 0 by dinner, and then minus 5 Celsius mid evening, and minus 13 Celsius tonight, and feeling like minus 20. Meteorologist Bill Coulter said, "That, my friends, is weather whiplash, and you should prepare yourself for it. It will be a bitterly cold evening tonight if you are out celebrating your Friday night. The weekend will continue to be chilly with a high of minus 4 Celsius expected Saturday. In the morning, the weather agency says it will feel like minus 23 with the wind chill." Coulter says that these temperatures will be among the coldest Torontonians have felt all winter. But there is good news. He says that warm air is poised to move into the region yet again by the middle of the next week. Showers are expected by Tuesday, with the temperatures creeping back into the double digits. Dave Phillips, senior climatologist with Environment Canada, told Awaz News a cold front is descending and residents can expect temperatures to go from summer-like to winter-like, with the possibility that Toronto could see its coldest moment of the entire winter season tonight, or at least approach it. But as soon as it arrives, it's going to depart, he said. It's an express. Phillips has described this winter as lost, saying Toronto has seen more rain and fog than snow. While most winters have a mild month, Phillips said this season has been nearly non-existent. At the same time, he urged drivers not to take their snow tires off just yet. "My sense is that winter hasn't told us what it's finally going to give us, but it's almost in the air that it's spent." Several African Canadian groups are continuing to call for more support for refugee claimants in Canada after another asylum seeker died while seeking shelter in Mississauga last weekend. Speaking at a news conference outside the Dundas shelter, located on Dundas Street East in Mississauga, the leaders of a number of African Canadian groups spoke out about the woman's death which occurred at the shelter on February 18. Advocates say the woman, an asylum seeker from Kenya, waited for several hours in the cold before she was permitted inside the building and passed away less than 24 hours later. In a statement, a spokesperson for the region of Peel confirmed that prior to her death, the woman had arrived at the shelter on the family day weekend needing a place to stay. The spokesperson offered condolences to the loved ones of the deceased and the broader asylum claimant and African communities. The death comes after another asylum seeker from Nigeria died outside the same shelter just 3 months ago. Peel police previously confirmed that the man, who was in his 40s, was found without vital signs in a tent outside the shelter on November 15. His death was deemed non-suspicious by police. On Friday, Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown confirmed that Peel Regional Shelter season is running at over 400% capacity due to the use of shelter hotels. Brown has also previously said that about 80% of the people in the shelter system are asylum seekers, largely from African countries, and on any given night, the region sees as many as 150 people sleeping outdoors. Earlier this month, the federal government announced that through the Interim Housing Assistance Program, IHAP program, an additional $362 million will be distributed across Canada to help support the influx of asylum claimants arriving in the country. In November, Ottawa also pledged to provide $7 million to Peel Region to help create a permanent welcome centre to process refugees and asylum seekers at Toronto Pearson International Airport. It is not clear if that funding has flowed to the region at this point. The federal Liberals and New Democrats have reached a deal that would allow every Canadian with a health card to access free diabetes medication and birth control, the NDP confirmed Friday. The coverage is to be included in the first piece of a national pharmacare program, with the legislation expected to be introduced in House of Commons next week. It's a critical piece of the supply and confidence pact between the two parties, in which the NDP agreed to support the Liberals on key votes in the Commons in exchange for movement on shared priorities. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh threatened in recent weeks to pull out of the deal if the Liberals didn't agree to certain terms by a March 1st deadline. A spokesperson for the NDP confirmed the pharmacare deal on Friday and said some final details could still be worked out over the weekend. The deal includes all insulin for type 1 and type 2 diabetes, the spokesperson said, as well as additional diabetes drugs and a fund for supplies such as devices for glucose monitoring. It will not cover Ozempic, a new drug for diabetes that has been used off label as a weight loss drug. The government is also expected to fully cover contraceptives in line with what British Columbia covers. That includes IUDs and emergency contraception, most commonly known as morning after pills. Ontario also provides many contraceptives for people under the age 25 who don't have private insurance. Manitoba's government has already pledged to do so as well. Abortion pills, which are different than morning after pills, are already offered for free at pharmacies across Canada. The New Democrats said contraception coverage will help millions of women and gender diverse people. In recent months, both Singh and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau have spoken out against a backsliding of abortion access around the world, including in the United States. Last week, Singh said it was important to include coverage for contraceptives in order to protect a woman's right to choose. The NDP said the coverage of diabetes medicines and the fund for medical equipment will help families who have children and parents with the chronic disease. The two parties had initially agreed to pass a pharmacare bill by the end of 2023, but in December, both parties agreed to add negotiating time, pinning March 1st as a deadline for the government to table legislation. The broad strokes of a deal were in place early last week, but the parties were still in talks about which drugs would be covered in the first go round of a national single payer program. As of Thursday night, the parties had agreed to include birth control and diabetes medications, said a source close to the talks, and the only outstanding issue at the negotiating table was what type of diabetes supplies should be covered. Liberals made it clear they had about $800 million to spend for an initial program, said the source, who was granted anonymity because they aren't authorized to speak publicly about the details of the closed talks. The source said that in addition to contraceptives, the parties considered whether to cover antibiotics, cholesterol medicines, blood pressure medication, and psychological medications such as antidepressants. Liberals had previously cited concerns about the potential cost of pharmacare, even as the NDP pushed for the program to include more right off the bat. If the federal government moves towards fully implementing national pharmacare, that wider program is expected to cost roughly $40 billion a year. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.